We are going live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. It is currently 8 a.m. as usual. Traffic conditions are pretty fair going into Tulsa right now. Like, there's no real congestion or traffic issues. Like, traffic's flowing good. I would even say it's super steady. Like, it's a pretty good flow of traffic into the Tulsa area.
But about 7:40, 7:50, it was standstill again.
Yeah. So if you're commuting into Tulsa right now, it's looking pretty hot for you right now. So you're good to go. Now, it is currently 38 degrees outside. We have a high of about 57 today. So it is light jacket weather for sure. It doesn't appear to be too windy right now, but like I said, if that wind picks up, it could get a little colder. But as of right now, the sun's out. It's pretty out, so it's going to be a really good day. So enjoy that while you can. Light jacket weather, folks. Now, as far as things going on for us, we have been out of the loop since Friday because we had field exercises and a drill weekend. So we were doing Army stuff, and that was fun. I mean, we did troop leading procedures. Well, we did our 4-mile graduation run, and that was, take it as you will. If you enjoy running, it's fun. If you don't enjoy running, it's just something you have to do to get through. So, but yeah, Chad and I passed. We had a couple of guys in our class not pass, so we're going to get together with them and exercise, and make sure they pass before the next required run for them. So that way we can keep our class together and together. So the other thing we did was we were actually out in the field doing troop leading procedures, and that's how they train officers to lead.
Yeah,
Squad. It's a squad lanes right now, but like I said, eventually it will turn into platoon lanes once you go to like your next training.
Exactly. So as of right now, what it really is it's from your insertion point to the point where you go to the attack itself, to the fallback or to get out of the attack area. Is like I said, you have to come up with a plan from insertion to movement to the attack point to the attack itself, and then if you're leaving the attack, if you have orders to leave the area of operation, you have to make a plan to pull out, and along with contingency plans, backup plans, and stuff like that if anything goes wrong along the way.
Yeah, it sounds simpler the way he describes it, but it's actually a relatively complicated process. And like I say, nothing in the Army is that complicated, but it
takes some learning.
There's a learning curve. Like it's the stuff you look at and read, the troop leading procedures. Like it's like learning a new language. Like you have to pick up and key in on certain words. So you just have to learn this new dialect and just pick up on these keywords and phrases, because there's just so much information being thrown at you. So I'm not saying it's that difficult, because it's really not that difficult. I enjoyed it. I picked up on it really quickly, but experience and actually doing it's the best way to learn how to do it. So it was fun. So our time in the field was fun. We had to sleep outside. Allegedly, there was an earthquake that happened on Saturday around 11 or something like that. We were out in the field walking around. I didn't feel anything. Yeah. And we were in Oklahoma City, closer to the epicenter of the
supposed earthquake.
So they're like, "Oh, did you feel it?" And I was like, "No." Hey, even the ones that happened back in like 2011 and 12, like whenever we were in college, like I was like in one of the buildings at the University of Tulsa, and everyone was like, "The earthquake just happened." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like walking around a building, like I didn't feel any shaking, didn't feel any rumbling. So it's the only one I ever felt was that one that woke me up out of my sleep, like 4 years back or so.
Which we thought was a train,
Yeah, I thought a train derailed is what I thought. Yeah. So I felt a earthquake, but I didn't feel this one or the ones that people were primarily talking about, which is kind of crazy. However, that being said, that's why we were out in the field doing Army stuff. So that was a long, arduous drill weekend. I wouldn't say it was overly difficult, but like I said, with anything Army, it's like it wasn't easy either.
Yeah, well, when you have to load up like 40, 50 pounds worth of gear, plus all your kit, and you're walking around nonstop, it's a hard day.
Absolutely.
It's a long day.
So with that being said, that was what we were doing all weekend. Kind of related news in the Owasso area. There's not a whole lot going on right now at the moment. I know there is a grand opening coming up for Bounce Owasso, or it's Bounce and that there's a ribbon cutting there. I believe it's on the 6th or the 7th. Would you check me on that, Chad?
Absolutely. He said you have to talk about something while I pull this stuff up, but I can get that taken care of for you real quick.
Absolutely. So while we were out in the field, that earthquake that happened, I don't know. It was just, I don't understand how folks feel this stuff. Like, I mean, am I just unable to like feel the ground shaking, or is it just because maybe my knees are sore and you just don't notice the stuff because you're already wobbly because you're walking around with a ruck pack on?
Yeah. Here's what I have if we are in the appropriate day. Since on the Owasso Chamber one, I have a workforce Owasso on the 6th, and then on the 7th, their monthly membership meeting is on the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from, excuse me, and that's from the Owasso Chamber site. And then I have from Owassoisms, I have Wheels and Thrills.
Again.
Yeah, again, that's another sensory skate night or skate day by the looks of it, from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. again.
Okay.
So there's that. Then on the 7th, the 75th anniversary of Tulsa Home and Garden Show, and that also goes through the 9th.
Mm.
Actually, good lord, no, it goes to the 10th.
Home and Garden Show is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. And then on the 7th, another. Wait, that's in April. I'm sorry, I moved a little too far. But yeah, that's what we got. The Tulsa Home and Garden Show from the 7th to the 10th.
All right, good deal. So those are your local events coming up in the Owasso area. So with that being said, let us know if you got any damage in that earthquake on your property or residence. But like I said, I don't think that little earthquake could have done a whole heck of a lot. I mean, maybe. I'll say this: you might actually check your homes for any foundational structure, or like I said. And here's a big problem with like insurance wise. So sorry, we always go into the insurance stuff, but there is a tough argument to be made against settling with insurance companies because, like I said, earthquakes aren't covered on the vast majority of homeowners insurance policies. So if you're not aware of that and there's not an earthquake endorsement, you better call your insurance company right now and see if they have an insurance endorsement, or if you have to get a completely different policy for earthquake coverage. That being said, it's not going to be cheap either. So be advised, it's not a very common policy. Therefore, there's not a lot of money in that pool of money to be pulled out of. So that's why it's more expensive and less competitive. So that's your issue there. Now, the other thing too is when it gets real nitpicky, like I said, if the state goes, yeah, this was an earthquake and this is what caused the damage, that's the other thing. Now, if your house is just settling, now like you have to understand, like over time, sometimes your house wear and tear and the earth just naturally shifts and settles. The claims adjusters or whoever comes out to inspect the property could come out and say, this wasn't due to the earthquake. This is just natural settlement over time. So that is what you're fighting against. You have to be able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the earthquake caused the damage. And that's the thing too. You're not going to be thinking about it. Like, you're going to be like, look, I'm not going to go outside, take a picture of my driveway and say, look, my driveway is flat and perfect. There's only like one or two little cracks that, just wear and tear over time. Now, if you go outside and like the earthquake caused the ground to shift and it's like, and now your road's like that, sure. But like I said, you would also still need to have photo evidence. It's like, this is what it looked like before, this is what it looked like after. So this is kind of one of those things where if you haven't looked 100 miles down the road, you're not going to be able to prove, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, whether or not this is settlement or the earth settling, or the earthquake caused this. So you as the customer are the one who is unsure and unaware of what exactly is going to cause it. You're just going to, as your mind as a consumer, is just going to be like, oh, this has to be the earthquake. But that might not be the case in reality. It's just you noticed it after the earthquake occurred. Or number two, and let's say you're in the right and the earthquake did cause it. I mean, how would you prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was the earthquake that did it? So just keep that kind of stuff in mind, because that's what you're up against as a homeowner.
Correct. And the other part of this process too is think of it like your roof. If you come back at it like with your roof, like you have people show up, you'll have a
bad weather stuff.
Yeah, you have a bad weather person
and the
show
AWS
up to
people
your
go
house.
out there and they go, oh, you have shingles
exactly.
missing.
Your shingles are bad because of this storm that you had. Well, it turns out that, if you look at your policy, we find out that it's not because your roof was damaged in the storm. It's because your roof is like 15 years old and it needs to be replaced.
Right.
So your insurance policy is not going to replace your roof for it being old. It's going to replace it in a catastrophic incident,
Yes.
like I said, where hail damages your roof or a storm blows part of your roof or shingles off. It's not going to be like, oh, my roof's old, need a new roof. Let's
Sudden
go.
and accidental is how if it's not a sudden and accidental event, your policy is not going to cover it. Your policy is not a maintenance policy. It is a catastrophic event
Yes, as
backup plan.
as I describe it, your insurance policy doesn't replace your tires after your tires need to be changed after X amount of miles. You have to change your own tires. If your tires get damaged because of an accident, yes, your insurance policy will replace your tires, but they don't replace old, worn out tires.
That's actually a really great point he just made. That's kind of simple, a very good simplification of how you would understand it. It's like your tires are not part of your car. They're part of your car. They make your car work, but they wear and tear over time. Same with your house. Your roof's going to wear and tear over time. Same with your property. Your property is going to settle over the years. Your home could sink a little bit lower into the ground. None of that is covered by your policy because it's stuff that it just happens in life. It's like your house settled a centimeter lower into the ground over the course of your ownership of it, whether that be for a year or whether it be for 20 years, So that is what you're looking for, and that's not going to be covered on your policies. So sorry, we kind of went on a big tangent here on the earthquake, moving to insurance policies and stuff. But like I said, that's some good information we just gave you to be armed with. So with that being said, the stuff we actually really kind of wanted to get into and talk about was I recently watched but I'm a big fan of Steven Crowder. He's got a YouTube channel. He's primarily on Rumble now due to censorship and stuff on YouTube, but Louder with Crowder is what his YouTube channel is called. And he actually just recently did a undercover, I guess I wouldn't even say undercover, just an expose on the Oklahoma. He's in Texas, mind you. So he did an expose on the Chinese infiltration of the marijuana industry here in Oklahoma. And it was absolutely breathtaking. It was amazing to see this. I don't know if you guys remember the murders where these guys were shot and buried down by a river somewhere. But that was a Chinese hitman that came and killed these guys. I guess they had kind of given them a loan or something along those lines of cash to get this weed operation up and running. And he came back to collect and they didn't have the money to give him. So he killed them. And I think one got away and ratted him out to the police. And I don't watch the local news very much, but I haven't heard anything about this at all. I figured it would be on the Twitter feeds. I figured it would be somewhere in Reddit, Oklahoma, or I don't know, just someone would publish an article or something on Facebook maybe and say, hey, look at this. But it's radio silence on this particular issue. Now, maybe I'm just not following the right sources, but I wish this would get more attention in the media because I feel like I want to know this kind of stuff. But yeah, there is a Chinese hitman who was hired to go and get these guys. And this is just one incident. There's a bunch of connecting things. There's a bunch of Chinese, what were they? They were loan officers in the Bronx or something in New York. And they approve all these loans for these Chinese people to buy properties here. So if you see billboards or you see areas in your local, and I'm not trying to say hate your Chinese neighbors or anything like that who've moved to the States, but there's a lot of shady stuff happening where these people are getting approved for properties. And like I said, they're all country properties for weed growing facilities. And the marijuana,
and then they traffic in
Chinese
labor, Chinese laborers to come work these farms for them, and they're not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to do anything. So it's literally slave labor. It's literally Chinese slave labor that the Chinese are they're exploiting their own people in the United States.
So we were talking about this not too long ago. We were talking about those Project Veritas exposés where there would be people in Arizona who were trying to get into a hotel to do reporting on the border issues, and it was nothing but Chinese migrants who were living in this singular hotel in Arizona. And that's what's happening. These people are coming here illegally, and then they're shipping them over to Oklahoma or someplace where I'm sure Oklahoma's not the only operation, but this is the Oklahoma is the one. We have twice as many weed growing dispensaries than any other state in the union right now because it's so unregulated right now, or we have so few laws. I mean, and this goes as far up as there's corruption within the governor's office of one of his appointees being the one that's approving a lot of these
criminal
places. Now, I'm not accusing the governor of doing this. I'm just saying maybe he's got some boxes in his cabinet and his appointees. I can't remember
more than just tornado.
The guy's name who was in it, but there's a lot of crazy stuff going on here in the state. And like I said, so these people these illegal immigrants are coming here and they're working on these farms. And like I said, and according to the Oklahoma Sheriff's Department, they go in there and these guys are like, oh yeah, no, this is better than being in China. We like being here better. And this is facilitating another operation. There is brothels and I wish I could say a better word, but sex trafficking operations happening. Mm-hmm. There are brothels popping up all around the area too with illegally smuggled in Chinese girls. And they are working in tandem with these weed operations facilities to give these guys some entertainment while they're working as slave labor on these plantations to just keep them happy enough to keep going. So there's a lot of Chinese-funded illegal stuff happening here. And the other thing, too, is a really important thing that one of the journalists that they'd interviewed talked about is the weed that they are growing is being treated with chemicals and all kinds of bad stuff. Like, they're not growing healthy plants. They're not really washing these plants clean of the pesticides and things they're using. So you're smoking stuff that could kill you. So if you're going to these, I'm not trying to destroy the weed industry, but like I said, the weed industry is not a safe business right now because there's a lot of pesticides and stuff being baked into these things that you could be smoking and killing yourself with. So this is what would you say? It's an attack on the American people because the Chinese don't care what kind of product they're selling. They're just going to they're going to feed the addiction.
Not even specifically just the American people, specifically like Oklahomans. So like I said, even if you are a grower or, distributor or whatever, this is affecting you because they're not doing this legally. So like I said, so they're not being taxed.
They're off the grid.
We are. So it's really hurting like people around here. It's hurting the locals. So this is hurting the locals.
Yeah, Crowder interviewed an Oklahoma couple who had quit everything to become growers, and they could not beat out these illegally operated farms where they have tons of Chinese slave labor working and growing and being able to outproduce and outsell these local Oklahoma folks who are trying to just compete in the market legally. This is bad for local growers and stuff. Now, I mean, as far as the people who are just purchasing it, and like I said, this is why I say marijuana is an addictive drug. Like, people are like, it's not habit forming. It really is, because if there is this much of a demand for it, clearly there's some level of addiction to it. Now, it might not be a horrible, like it's not the one that's going to kill you, but now it is because they're lacing it with pesticides.
Yeah, or fentanyl.
They're trying to destroy the population from within. And if you don't think that's the case, sure, yes, they're just trying to make some money because they're booming. They're making a lot of money on this, but they don't care what happens to the people who are using this stuff, and they don't care about the slave labor if they're using it either.
Correct.
They just want to keep them happy enough to keep working.
So the unforeseen consequences that even I couldn't have foreseen
coming along. Nobody could have
legalizing, medical marijuana.
No, yeah. So I'm doing a very poor job of explaining how in depth this interview is. Watch the video. I don't know if Chad has it pulled up on the screen.
I've had it pulled up for a
So
while.
this video that's pulled up on the screen, look at it. Watch it. It's like an hour long if you drew it on your drive home from work or on your lunch break when you have time. This is a super important expose that everyone needs to be made aware of. And this is why we should immediately stop allowing any Chinese, like I'm not saying individuals, but anybody who has association or ties with China needs to be cut off from being allowed to do any business specifically in the marijuana industry here in the United States. I would argue the places in Texas, Oklahoma, if you are selling billboards that are in Chinese right now, you are wrong. You need to stop. Like, we need to stop this. Any place that has been sold to Chinese folks, the federal government should pretty much eminent domain that and then put it back up on the market. And I guarantee you, if you go over there and you find any of these properties that have been bought up by Chinese corporations, shell companies, or whatever, you will find illegal activities happening on them right now. So in my opinion, I think that's what we should do. So we went on a long tangent here, folks, but it's an amazing video. It's an amazing watch. You should definitely check it out. It's one of the most eye-opening things I've seen in a very long time.
Absolutely. So that's really about all we have. To definitely check out that Crowder video about the Chinese operation here in Oklahoma specifically. And so that's pretty much all we have for you today.
Yeah, so that's all we've got. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live, and we are signing out. God bless y'all.